sure. If I get the right one here.
All right. That's funny. All right, we're going to call to order the governing board meeting of the St. Johns River Water Management District. Today is March 11th, 2025. It is 10 o'clock, and we are in Palatka, Florida. All right, let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. We're going to begin with a roll call. 1 second. Got lots of big folders here today. All right, Miss Giabi White.
Present.
Mr. Oliver.
Here.
Mr. Peterson. Here. Mr. Atwood.
Here.
Mr. Bornick. Mr. House. Here. Miss Price.
Here.
And General Burnett will be joining us during the meeting. So we have a quorum, and General Burnett will make us have everybody here when he arrives. All right. We're going to start, like we always do, with recognition of our valued employees. And I see we have Libby Allen here today, who's going to be doing the honors. Libby, it's good to see you. And let's proceed.
Sources Technician. Congratulations to Carrie Cordell, the March Employee of the Month. Carrie is a Records Information Specialist working in the Office of Records and Regulatory Support. She is recognized for demonstrating the district's core values to develop partnerships and achieve results. Carrie is the personification of customer service. She is always willing to go above and beyond what is expected of her in her daily responsibilities. Her dedication to creating a positive work environment is evident through her willingness to donate personal time to organize and lead fundraising events and food drives and offer support to employees in need. Thank you, Carrie, for all you do. Next, we have a 5-year service award for Oscar Ramirez, Engineer 3 in the Division of Regulatory Services. We have a 25-year service award for R.H. Davis, Land Manager in the Bureau of Land Resources. RH is the land manager for the North Central region and is responsible for coordinating restoration and management activities on over 60,000 acres of district-owned land. While at the district, RH has served as burn boss on over 170 prescribed fires totaling over 48,000 acres. He has successfully restored hundreds of acres of marsh and is proud to assist with many Operation Outdoor Freedom events on district lands, which provide recreational opportunities for wounded veterans. RH is a Florida certified prescribed fire manager and serves as a division supervisor on one of Florida's incident management teams. He has helped with hurricane and wildfire response in Florida and has been deployed to wildfires in California, Washington, Oregon, Montana, and Idaho. RH was nominated for the Employee of the Year Award, and he was the recipient of the Award of Excellence. Thank you, RH, for 25 years of dedicated service to the district.
Thank you all for your service to the district. It's very much appreciated, and it's always great to see everybody come here in support of their colleagues during these, while we recognize them for these important awards and milestones. So we'll give y'all just a couple of seconds to love for you. If it's appropriate to stay. If you need to get back to your station, we understand that as well.
I have a station.
I think our station's up here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They have our names on the front. I just follow that. All right, we're going to go to item 2, hydrologic conditions report, and I want to remind everybody before Tim starts. If you recall our discussion at the last meeting, we had a great discussion on biosolids. One of the things that we talked about doing is developing some sort of metrics to give us an idea about how things look in the district, because this is such a critical issue. And add that as a slide. I don't think it's going to be here today, but and that wasn't the expectation because we knew it was going to take a little while to develop the appropriate metric. But anyway, that would be my anticipation. Is that consistent with what everybody understood at our last meeting? Okay, great. And let the record reflect that we have all board members present. All right, you're recognized, Mr. Miller.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Bradley and members of the Governing Board. I'm Tim Miller, Bureau Chief of the Bureau of Water Resource Information, presenting the March Hydrologic Conditions Report representing data from the month of February. Beginning first with rainfall. Rainfall in February resulted from a few frontal systems arriving mid and late month. These delivered rain primarily to the very south and north, with the central portion of the district receiving relatively little rainfall, as you can see on the map. Average totals across the district were below the district-wide monthly average by 1.39 inches. 16 of 18 counties were below normal, 14 of which were more than an inch below their averages. 2 southern counties were above normal, including Okeechobee and Indian River County, with a small area in Indian River County receiving up to 6 inches of rain through the month. Countywide average rainfall totals range from a high of 3.19 inches for Indian River County to a low of 0.81 inches for Volusia County. Moving next to rainfall over the past 12 months, the district-wide annual rainfall total is 1.47 inches above the annual average of 51.01 inches. We still see that central and northern counties have been the primary recipients through the year, while areas like coastal Brevard County have received less. 10 counties are above normal, with Nassau, Duval, and Volusia counties still more than 6 inches above their annual averages. Of the 8 counties below their 12-month average, 4 counties are 4 inches or more below normal, including Brevard, Osceola, Indian River, and Alachua counties. Countywide totals range from the lowest value of 45.03 inches for Okeechobee County to the highest value of 62.44 inches for Nassau County, which is just over 11 inches above its average. Surface flows across the district at the start of February were primarily in the average range. Flows have declined on trend with lower rainfall amounts. However, they have remained in the average range through the month at the majority of sites, while the tidally influenced site at Jacksonville to the north decreased from very high to the high range for flow conditions. In the next series of slides, we'll review the status of water levels at selected long-term lake sites. Overall, levels have had modest declines. Looking first at Lake Brooklyn, water level decreased 1/10 of a foot over the previous month, remaining above average. Lake Weir also had a slight decrease of 1/10 of a foot in February and is just below the average water level. Water level at Lake Winnemiset had a decrease of 3/10 of a foot through the month, continuing a steady decline but remaining well above the average level for this time of year. Lake Apopka's level decreased 1/10 of a foot from the previous month, remaining above its average and just below regulation schedule. Similarly, water level in Blue Cypress Lake also decreased 1/10 of a foot, with levels continuing to be above average but below regulation schedule. Conditions in the upper Floridan aquifer have remained fairly steady or shown slow declines through the month, but remain healthy for this time of year. Aquifer levels continue to be in the normal or high range across the district. Portions in Baker and Nassau County to the north saw areas increasing into the high range, while some locations in the central counties saw changes decreasing from the high to the normal range. Overall, we remain in a positive position regarding groundwater levels, and changes in the aquifer remain on trend with recent hydrologic conditions. Looking next at the district-wide index value for aquifer conditions, we see that the upper Floridan aquifer well index value at the end of February was 65, which is the upper end of the normal range, slightly below where the value was last year at this time. Again, this continues to show aquifer levels are doing well, especially as we close in on our driest months and progress towards the typical annual lows expected in May and June before the summer wet season. In the next series of slides, I review changes in flow at selected spring sites with long-term monitoring. The monthly mean for flow in Silver Springs decreased 22 cubic feet per second from the previous monthly mean, and flow is just within the high range. At Blue Spring, the monthly mean showed an increase of 4 cubic feet per second in February, with these provisional data indicating that flow was at record levels through the month. Flow increases at this spring are common when aquifer levels are robust and decreased river levels allow for higher discharge from the spring. At Rock Springs, flow had a slight decrease from the previous monthly mean and remains near the top of the high range. Overall, a slight decrease in flow was observed in the monthly mean at Wekiwa Springs. Although it shows a steady decline, these data indicate that through the month, flow was at record levels for this time of year. And finally, the well plugging program continued to be very productive, plugging 24 wells in February. The abandonment of those wells provided an additional savings of over 4.7 million gallons per day, which brings the total water saved through the well abandonment program since November 2020 to just over 83.1 million gallons per day. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Are there any questions for Mr. Miller? Anyone? Yes, go ahead, Doug.
Can you go back to slide 13?
Sure.
I guess it was maybe go to 12. It was right in here somewhere. Go back one. Yeah. it's amazing the work that the district has done to protect our available water supply and the groundwater and the springs of the state, considering the mega growth that we've experienced over the last 20 years. It's just unbelievable that we have the water that we have, and what the district has done to protect the water resource. And that's just proof that here we're experiencing unprecedented growth, yet the available water supply is still very abundant. And just a tip of the hat to this district and to the staff, what they've done over the years to make sure that we have a adequate or more than adequate water supply for us now and into the future. So just a comment, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very true. And I think it's important to remind not only the public, but just all of our friends that we work with throughout the state that, we have so much focus on projects, which is a very important element of what we do. And, but we aren't just an organization that does projects. And I think that because they get all the attention all the time, for understandable reasons, a lot of times, because they're important, it's important work. But we aren't just we aren't just a construction company for water projects. That's important. But we monitor these things and we regulate to make sure that throughout the district, we're looking at the big picture and achieving outcomes like you're correctly describing here. And constantly looking at ways to 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road to make sure it stays there, because we don't control the growth. Those are decisions made by people making their own economic decisions, and people think government can control growth and can manage it. But at the end of the day, we live in a country where people can kind of migrate where they want to in this country. If they decide to come to Florida, you're not supposed to put a fence up because we have a commerce clause and we have the United States that people can move around the country and live where they want to live. And so we're going to keep growing because it's really awesome here. That's why we're here. And so our job is to make sure as that occurs, and we evolve as a society in that way, that we take care of our natural resources and our water supply. Thank you. All right, I understand there's been a update to the original publication of the agenda, and so, Mr. Register, is that correct? And
Yes.
I mean, yes, that's correct. Would you explain the changes?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 9 was for the no-cost time extension for 2 cost share projects, one with the Orange County for a septic tank retrofit, and one with the city of Palatka for water main improvements. The city of Palatka has indicated to us that they now anticipate and are confident that they'll be able to complete the project by the end of the month. So they have withdrawn their request for the time extension, and it'll be reflected when the item's presented that it's just the Orange County one that we'll be asking for the 6-month no-cost time extension.
Orange County, they're gonna have to come up alone. I'm sure it's reasonable, guys. I'm kidding. We're having a good time with it. All right. Item 3, consent agenda items 12 through 22. Do any board members wish to pull any of those items for discussion? What's that? No comments. All right.
For approval, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion and a second to move for approval of the entirety of the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. We'll move to item 4 for consideration, a proclamation Trina, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the board, my name is Trina Vielhauer. I'm here to present Agenda Item 4, which is a declaration of Government Finance Professionals Week. As you will see from the agenda, March is Proclamation Month for us. So this is the first of 3 proclamations we have for your consideration this morning. If it meets with your approval, we thought we would have staff go ahead and present all 3 agenda items and then invite you all down for signatures and photos afterwards.
Great.
Mr. Chair, I like the entire idea except for the photos.
Well, we got to do it. We got to do it. It's a part of the job. Struggle is real. All right, so we're gonna do all 3 at once.
We will have 3 different presentations so that you can all approve each agenda item. And then at the end of the 3rd, after you all hopefully approve that, we'll invite you down. Does that make sense?
I think it's going to be close. I don't know if we're going to get
Right.
unanimous approval on these proclamations, but I get it. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Government Finance Professionals Week is sponsored by the Florida Government Finance Officers Association, which is a professional association founded in 1937 and serving more than 3,300 professionals throughout Florida. Pictured here and with us today in the audience are members of our Office of Financial Services. These staff work hard behind the scenes to ensure we accomplish our core mission, including implementation and funding for all of the projects that you mentioned earlier. Some of the duties these staff fulfill every day are developing and managing our budget, receiving, managing, and investing our financial resources, maintaining inventory and tracking our assets, procuring goods and services used across the district, ensuring timely payment of invoices, bills, and our staff, and completing many financial reporting requirements. We are very thankful for all of our financial professionals, and we are proud to recognize them and their contributions to our agency's success. Staff requests approval of a proclamation declaring March 17th through 21st, 2025 as Government Finance Professionals Week.
Is there a motion to approve? I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion approved unanimously. Let's go to item 5.
Thank you.
Item 5 is Water Conservation Month, April 2025. You're recognized, Ms. Irwin.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the Governing Board. I'm Deirdre Irwin, Water Conservation Coordinator in the Bureau of Water Supply Planning. The district, along with local governments, are partnering with the Florida section of the American Water Works Association to once again recognize April as Water Conservation Month. This highlights the work of the district and local governments to promote water conservation. The district has 3 water conservation coordinators who implement programs based on water supply planning regions. We work closely with our local government and utility partners to help them implement effective conservation programming. We also work with the public, HOA and HOA managers to promote efficient irrigation. The team works with staff and stakeholders to ensure that water conservation is an integral part of the MFL prevention and recovery strategies and our water supply plans. Water conservation can delay expensive alternative water supply projects and can protect natural resources that might be impacted from increased withdrawals. We have many tools at our disposal as we partner with utilities and local governments to implement programming. Over the past 11 years, the district has funded 258 water conservation cost share projects with a combined savings of 25.6 million gallons per day. This includes both agricultural, utility, and local government cost share. Since 2020, 2.7 million has been dedicated to the district's artesian well plugging program, with over 80 million gallons per day in water savings. The district launched the Florida Water Star program back in 2006. Since then, the program has added commercial and community versions and launched training for all involved. The program is very collaborative with multiple partners who support the vision. Southwest Florida Water Management District has used Florida Water Star with some of their utilities in water-constrained areas. They use it in a structured way to ensure more water-efficient homes are built. 18 local governments and 1 utility in this district have now mandated Florida Water Star for all new homes, and it's expected that 66,000 homes will be built in Southwest Florida Water Management District in coming years. That concludes the overview, Mr. Chair. Staff is requesting the Board's approval of the proclamation declaring April 2025 as Water Conservation Month.
All right, is there a motion and a second?
First.
All right, we have two things said that, when combined, should produce a procedural vote. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved unanimously. Thank you. Item 7. Callie? I'm sorry. Item 6. Eric. Sorry, Eric.
Thank you.
Callie's going to do the Central Florida. The big day today for the water initiative, that's for sure, with Taylor Creek. But I apologize, got out of order. We're going to do item 6. You're recognized, Eric.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair, members of the board. I'm Eric Marzoff, Director of the Division of Water Resources, here today requesting your support of a proclamation to designating April as Springs Awareness Month. By adopting this proclamation, the district increases its public awareness of the values springs provide to Florida. The district has approximately 148 springs. They're located within 3 of our strategic basins, with only the IRL and Upper Basin not having a spring. Similarly, 3 of the district's core missions relate to springs management, with only flood protection not being included. One measure of the district's investment in the protection of springs is via its cost share program. Since 2014, the district has helped with cost share on 173 projects. That includes almost $72 million of district revenue, over 67 from the state DEP, and over 242 from local governments, utilities and agriculture, to implement these projects. These have combined to develop 55 million gallons per day of alternative water supply, 19 million gallons of additional storage, and conserved almost 5 million gallons of water today. They've also improved water quality by reducing total nitrogen to priority springs by over 420,000 pounds per year, and phosphorus removal by 154,000 pounds per year. One project to highlight, because it's ongoing and continue to do good work, is a septic to sewer project from Orange County. This is a multi-phase project with the 3rd phase underway, the first 2 complete, and the 4th is anticipated to begin this summer. It will eliminate and connect up 928 septic tanks and eliminate over 8,000 pounds of nitrogen to the Wekiva system. This is a project that's almost $50 million with $13 million in cost share. The Wekiva Wild and Scenic River Management System is exploring the use of new technology to monitor springs. This kayak has a number of underwater cameras, above water cameras, a water quality sonde there seen at the end trailing off the stern, as well as fancy bathymetry, so that it can do single passes and collect a great deal of data very efficiently and all in one pass. And that's the result of a single pass of one of these kayaks down Rock Springs Run. We are awaiting the post-processing of all these data, which will tie them all together, but you can see that it gathers a tremendous amount of information that allows us to go back and explore questions that come up in the future. We've got a whole lot of data to go back and reflect upon. The district's springs awareness efforts continue to promote the importance of springs, and as the springs as a role of looking glass into Florida's largest water body, the Floridan Aquifer. We continue to educate the public on activities they can do to help protect the aquifer and springs. And that completes my presentation. I request your approval of a proclamation declaring April as Springs Protection Month.
All right, do we have a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the requested action. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion is approved unanimously. Okay, let's do picture time. and it seems sterile, but you know, the springs are just an incredibly unique blessing that we have been given, and to be able to, it's an honor to be able to be a part of keeping that blessing for future generations protected. And then obviously water conservation is critical to our core functions. And then finally, there's a lot of money that moves in and out of this place. We talked about the projects, but just with everything, and our government finance professionals are very, you know, it's like my daughter's an accountant, and my dad was too, but you know, government finance is different than other finance. It's got its own rules. It's very unique and specialized area of that profession. So we certainly appreciate all the work that Trina and everybody in the district does to make sure that we don't commit fraud and that we get our bills paid and that everything, and we always know how much money we have, and so proper decisions can be made. All right, let's go to item 8, which is the ranking of consultants with the Taylor Creek project. Wait, no, we're on item 7. I'm all over the place. Callie, you're recognized, and then you're going to handle the consultants. Let's first do a review the draft. Sorry about that. Callie, you're recognized.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Allie Register, and I'm with the Bureau of Water Supply Planning. Today, I'm going to present an overview of the draft 2025 Central Florida Water Initiative, or CFWI, Regional Water Supply Plan. CFWI staff at the 3 cooperating districts, including St. John's, South Florida, and Southwest Florida Water Management District, have completed a draft update of the Regional Water Supply Plan and are preparing to release the draft for public review. This is the second 5-year update to the plan, which was initially approved in 2015. The Central Florida Water Initiative is a collaborative water supply planning effort covering an area including portions of 3 water management districts and 5 counties, as shown here. The CFWI was developed to provide a uniform approach for water management in a region where the boundaries of the districts come together and where water withdrawals in one district may impact water resources and water users throughout the area. The CFWI Steering Committee consists of board members from the 3 water management districts, a utility representative, and representatives from the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services and the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. The Steering Committee provides stakeholder input and a recommendation to the districts for plan approval. Thank you to Chris Peterson for volunteering his time to represent the St. Johns River Water Management District on the Steering Committee. Components of the Regional Water Supply Plan include population and water demand projections for a 20-year planning period, an assessment of available water supplies to determine whether current and future demands can be met with fresh groundwater without harming Florida's natural systems, and if not, identification of management strategies, water conservation, and alternative water supply projects to meet future needs. Plans must also identify project funding options, and the plans must be updated every 5 years. Since the plans updated every 5 years and began in 2015, we've had the benefit of not starting from scratch for the 2025 plan and have built on the work done for the 2015 and 2020 plans. This table shows the projected increase in water demand for various use types in the CFWI planning area. Public supply remains the largest use category, followed by agriculture. Overall, water demands are projected to increase by 41%, or 263 million gallons per day, to 903 million gallons per day in 2045. The planning area's population is expected to have a 40% increase to 4.7 million people by 2045, while irrigated agricultural acreage and water demands are projected to decrease slightly. This can be attributed to changes in irrigation trends and residential development. Due to the demand increase, the draft 2025 CFWI Regional Water Supply Plan projects a groundwater shortfall of 96 million gallons per day in 2045. Therefore, continued implementation of local management strategies, water supply, and water resource development options are needed. The draft plan identifies 126 such project options, developed in collaboration with regional stakeholders, that have the capacity to produce approximately 497 million gallons per day of finished water, thus far exceeding the projected groundwater demands. I wanted to highlight a couple of current and completed projects in the Central Florida Water Initiative. Shown here is the Taylor Creek Reservoir in Orange and Osceola counties. It is currently used for public supply and agricultural uses. As identified in the draft, current, and past CFWI regional water supply plans, the Taylor Creek Reservoir, St. Johns River Water Supply Project is a regionally significant project that, when complete, is anticipated to provide up to 54 million gallons per day of alternative water supply. The next presentation on today's agenda will provide more information about this project. Another project is Cherry Lake Tree Farm, which is a large tree farm nursery and citrus operation in Lake County. They have completed 6 projects with the assistance of district-wide Ag Cost Share Program, totaling almost $664,000 in funding. The projects generate more than 1.3 million gallons a day of water through conservation or alternative water supply, and also provide water quality benefits. And finally, the South Lake County Lower Florida Aquifer Wellfield Project is being implemented by the cities of Groveland, Claremont, and Mineola, and Sunshine Water Services. As part of this project, the city of Groveland is currently constructing 2 Lower Florida Aquifer wells, which will provide 4.3 million gallons per day of water that otherwise would have come from the Upper Florida Aquifer. The project has received funding from both FDEP and the district, and anticipated completion is the end of this year. The city of Groveland has previously completed construction of an additional Lower Florida Aquifer well at their Sunshine Water Plant. Like the previous 2 plans, the draft plan concludes that future water demands can be met while sustaining the water resources and related natural systems in the CFWI. To do so will continue to require an integrated approach, including continued implementation and expansion of water conservation measures, continued development of alternative water supplies, optimization of groundwater withdrawals, and continued research and pursuit of funding for water resource and water supply projects. Shown is the schedule for this 5-year update, with an end goal of anticipated governing board approvals and posting of the final plan in late 2025. The grayed out lines have already been completed and include public and CFWI steering committee meetings. Today was our overview of the Regional Water Supply Plan in preparation for the release of the public draft plan later this week. The public comment period will be open for 60 calendar days after posting and closing in mid-May 2025. Additional steering committee meetings and public workshops will be held in April to discuss the draft plan, and in October to provide an overview of comments received and any substantial changes. The 3 districts will present the draft final plan to their governing boards in November 2025, and after all approvals, the final 2025 CFWI Regional Water Supply Plan will be posted to cfwiwater.com in December. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, this is, first of all, are there any questions? Sure, and keep in mind, this is, you saw the schedule. We probably will not consider this formally until the end of the year. Look forward to hearing from the public, getting feedback from interested parties on this matter, and it's critical to the future that we get this right, and you're recognized.
I just want to say, I know we've got representatives from Orange County, Cocoa.
There you go.
Deseret Ranch is here today. I don't know if they have anything to say, but
I think you're here for the TCR item, which is next. So.
oh, okay. But nonetheless, the Taylor Creek project, as we were looking at, is a huge portion of that, and vitally important. And then I just would like to make the comments that when you dig into the weeds on the CFWI process, the amount of heavy lifting that the district staff does, the modeling, it's intense, and it's a lot of data that is really micro analyzed, and it's really this type of planning leading out 20 years in the future that allows us to continue to grow the way we have. Part of the plan takes into all the account of the growth and where we see it's going to go in the water needs, which allows us to keep things like that well index, the aquifer index that Doug, the chairman, talked about earlier. That's the critical planning that goes into making sure that we are 20 years ahead thinking, it's like a chess game. You've got to stay 5-10 moves ahead, planning in the future. And this project and this planning is critical to the Central Florida area, and also working with the other two water management districts, because although the districts are formed by surface water considerations, but the pool of water under Central Florida is managed by 3 different districts. So it's certainly nice that we're all looking at those sort of things together to make sure that we're meeting the future demands of the water, particularly for Central Florida. And so those are my comments.
Thank you. No doubt. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Maybe that sparked a question. Anyone? All right. Well, then, that being the case, go forth and conquer to the next steps. And we look forward to fine-tuning this throughout the year. Item 8. Big deal.
Mr. Chair, Gretchen Kelly will be presenting this item 8.
All right, Gretchen Kelly. You're recognized.
Thank you. Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Gretchen Kelly. I'm a project manager with the Bureau of District Projects and Construction. This item is for your consideration of the district's formal solicitation to procure an engineering firm for the Taylor Creek Reservoir Improvements Project. This project is a key component of the Taylor Creek Reservoir St. Johns River Water Supply Project that my colleague just mentioned for the update to the CFWI Regional Water Supply Plan. For background, Taylor Creek Reservoir is located west of the St. Johns River and west of Lake Poinsett, as shown in the map to the left of your screen. TCR's embankment, known as L73 Section 1, and discharge structure S164 were built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in the late 1960s as part of the original Upper St. Johns River Basin project. The district is responsible for operation and maintenance of these works. There are 2 primary phases of the overall CFWI water supply project. The district is charged with design and construction of the first phase, known as the TCR Improvements Project, which is the main topic of this agenda item. This phase involves raising L73 and modifying the operating schedule to increase water storage and improving S164. The subsequent phase will be undertaken by the 5 water supply partners and will involve water treatment plant upgrades and water transmission infrastructure. The 5 water supply partners are the City of Cocoa, East Central Florida Services, Orange County Utilities, Orlando Utilities Commission, and Toho Water Authority. At build-out, the project is estimated to provide up to 54 million gallons per day of alternative water supply, like Callie mentioned. And thank you to the representatives from the water suppliers who are here with us today. If you recall, district staff completed some redesign work on TCR after it was reclassified as a high hazard dam. However, with the ongoing development of industry standards for dam safety and changes in the available staff resources, the district elected to procure an engineering firm to take on the design and assume engineer of record responsibilities. We posted this RFQ solicitation for just over 60 days and held a mandatory pre-proposal meeting during that time frame. The requirement for similar projects, or the minimum qualifications are shown on the right of your screen. The requirement for similar projects included mandatory experience with design and permitting of a high or intermediate hazard dam and a major water resource development project and related construction management experience. We received 2 responses, both of which met minimum qualifications. The evaluation committee consisted of 4 district staff. The committee evaluated written qualifications followed by oral presentations based on the criteria you see here and presented in more detail in the governing board memo. As you can see on the bottom of your screen, total scores were weighted based on 65% attributing to written proposals and 35% to oral presentations. And this is the outcome of our evaluation. Both respondents were very well qualified firms and highly regarded in the dam engineering world. In the end, Gannett Fleming came out on top. And thank you to the folks with Gannett Fleming who were also able to join us today. Appreciate that. And this brings me to the recommendation. I'd like to point out, with your approval, this will be a work order-based contract and supplemental work allowance for potential unforeseen changes in the work is included in the budget that you see here. And the SWMA amount will be determined during contract negotiations. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I spoke to the executive director and asked him how much the Taylor Creek project would be. Usually engineering is a percentage of those things, and so it might help the board to hear roughly the construction costs.
We're estimating around $80 million without the land cost, I think is the current estimate that we have.
So with that, this is a 10 or 11% fee, so that's a fair fee. So with that, I'd like to make a motion for approval.
All right. You've heard the motion with a great background.
Second the motion and then just would have a comment after.
All right. We have a motion and a second. You're recognized, Cole.
I just wanted to thank our partners in the utilities department for coming together on this. It's been a long road to get here. I believe it's the same one, but when I was in the federal court system in 2008, this was winding its way through at that time. So to be sitting here, as that was always on my judge's docket, one of the longest hanging reported cases that was out there. And in the federal system, we got messaged every 6 months if the cases were dragging on too long. But it's just an interesting road. I'm glad that everyone's working together, and I'm very excited to bring this project home for the district.
All right. Any other? We have a motion and a second before us. Is there any other discussion? I also want to thank our utility partners. This is a great example of us all working together to achieve something that's really, really good for the people of the state of Florida and this region in particular. I also want to mention Deseret. You mentioned Deseret's here. We had talked last month about biosolids, and they don't do biosolids anymore. So I wanted to publicly recognize that. Thank you very much.
I'll just, if you don't mind,
yeah.
I'll just mention that Mr. Register and I did visit the Deseret this.
Talk right into it.
We visited Deseret, and I did relay the board's sentiment to the staff and the leadership at the Deseret Ranch. So, let you know that did happen. So, and we are very grateful for that.
No doubt. I appreciate being good stewards of the land. Thank you. Okay, so seeing nothing further on this important item, I'm going to go ahead and call a vote. Oh, we have. Oh, great. Okay, go ahead.
We did have one comment card of Mr. Jack Walsh, representing the city of Cocoa.
Okay, Jack, go ahead. I think he may be speaking on behalf of all the utilities, correct? Okay, great. You're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Chair, board members, and staff. I'm Jack Walsh. I'm the Utilities Director for the City of Cocoa, and I'm the spokesperson for the group that's here, and I'll introduce them if they want to stand up or wave.
If y'all could stand up and so we can properly recognize y'all's go ahead.
We have Carrie Cates, the Deputy Director for Orange County Utilities, Matt Doan, Chief Engineer with Toho Water Authority, Derek Whipple, East Central Florida Services, and Brad Jewell, Director of Water Production, Orlando Utility Commission. We are here in support of the Taylor Creek Reservoir Improvements Project Design, Permitting, Construction, and Construction Management Services Contract Award. The awarding of this pivotal project represents a critical step in ensuring a sustainable and future water supply to meet the growing needs of Central Florida region. This project also provides current benefits to the reservoir itself by producing essential upgrades. Awarding this project is an investment in both the present and future needs, ensuring a dependable water source for generations to come. Since 2005, the district has identified Taylor Creek Reservoir as an alternative water supply project. It is also an identified project within the Central Florida Water Initiative Regional Water Supply Plan. We support the recommendation of staff to move forward with this contract award and the related project in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Before any questions for our partners? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you coming up and sharing that those sentiments with us and information with us. All right. Any other public comment?
I think he's just jumping the gun for the next item.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Yeah.
The eager
I thought Lou wanted to talk about that. Wow, are you okay? Well, anyone else? All right. All those. Let's do a roll call vote on something of this magnitude. Gabby White.
Yes.
Oliver.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Atwood.
Yes.
Bornique. Yes. Burnett.
Yes, sir.
House.
Yes, sir.
Price.
Yes.
And Bradley is a yes. The motion is approved unanimously. Great work. All right, now we're going to move to Orange County's cost share time extension request. Lou, you are recognized. This item number 9.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the governing board. My name is Lou D'Angelo, Cost Share Program Manager in the Bureau of Basin Management and Project Development. Today, I will be presenting an item for consideration to approve one no-cost time extension. The project, Orange County's Wekiwa Springs Septic Tank Retrofit Phase 3, is a water quality project located in the Middle St. John Strategic Planning Basin. The Wekiwa Springs project, Septic to Sewer Phase 3, includes the abandonment of 213 septic tanks and the connection to sanitary sewer. This is the third phase of a 6-phase project. The first 2 phases are complete and have successfully eliminated over 363 septic tanks in the Wekiwa Rock Spring Shed. Orange County is one of our best partners in this space. The third phase has commenced, However, delays due to procuring a new vendor, gopher tortoise relocations, and soil saturation due to significant rainfall, Orange County Utilities requesting a 6-month no-cost time extension to September 30th, 2025. And that brings me back to the item for consideration before you today. I have a representative from Orange County here today. If you have any questions of them or myself.
Yes, sir. We have a speaker card from David Arms from Orange County Utilities.
All right, David, how are you? Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board and staff. My name is David Arms. I'm a chief engineer at Orange County Utilities, and I wanted to follow up Mr. DeAngelo's presentation for a request for time extension to report on our project. As he'd mentioned, this is a multi-phase program that we have in Northwest Orange County, and it is a tremendous success, and I want to share on behalf of our organization our appreciation to this to the district itself, and the district was the first to support this program out of the gate from the word go, and the district's support in particular lends tremendous credibility to our program, and throughout the multiple phases we have gotten to a point where we have secured approval from nearly 2,000 on behalf of 2,000 residents to self-assess themselves for a portion of the cost, and that is a big part of what makes it possible to fund this project, along with the district support and support from FDEP. So with that said, during phase 3, we will be toward the end celebrating a milestone connection, and we'd like to invite members of the board, if they so desire, to come celebrate with us as we commemorate this important milestone event, and see for themselves the commitment that Orange County shares and that our other stakeholders, including the residents themselves, have brought to bear on this tremendously important project that is eliminating septic tanks from right down the street from Wekiva Springs. So thank you very much.
Any questions for David? Well, thanks for being such a great partner, David. We understand that things happen, and the 2 phases have gone swimmingly. It's amazing that you're able to get that much involvement from the residents. That's very unusual, but speaks to the good work that y'all are doing. So appreciate you coming, making the trip, and updating us and kind of letting us know what's going on. Thank you
very much. And again, I'd like to thank the organization and this board, and Mr. DeAngelo and his staff are tremendous to work with. We've had the opportunity to participate with other organizations, and they are all wonderful, but the St. John's relationship we treasure and are very proud of.
We're proud to be partners with you. All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All right, motion and second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? It's approved unanimously. We're going to go to item 10 for our update on the 2 very significant water resource development projects that we are working on, and lots of good stuff happening. You recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. It's my pleasure to provide a monthly update on the construction progress of the Crane Creek M1 Canal and Black Creek water resource development projects. Starting with Crane Creek M1 Canal, you can see we're getting really close to the end here. I'm going to start with the operable weir. It's coming along just great. The south side weir was installed and successfully tested last month. Most of the concrete work near the bottom of the in the bottom of the canal and along the side slopes is done. We just have a little bit more of that to do. This right here, this cap on top of the south abutment wall, that's been poured now. everything's moving along just great in the operable weir. The east pump station's pretty much done. It's substantially complete. You'll see a little bit of video of that in a minute. We're just getting ready to schedule the pump startup on that. The west pump station is also doing quite well. The concrete's been poured, as you see in that lower photograph on the left side. Concrete's been poured around the wet well. The intake and that pump station are getting very close. They're 85% complete. And currently overall, the project's 90% complete. You can see in the upper right, that photograph is a discharge structure along US 192. And that's where the treated water will eventually get to that point and then sheet flow through a marsh and back to the river. This is the operable weir location moving east. You can see the concrete work down below has pretty much all been done. This is the south weir, which again I don't know why that's not showing up. Anyway, the south weir to your right, you can see that's been installed. The weir on the north side, that's submerged so you can't see it. And the only thing that's left here, down below the upland area, is when this stops, you can see the. This isn't showing up on your screen, I don't think. But anyway, on the right side, there's just a little bit more concrete work that needs to be poured, and that's around a couple culverts that have come over from that retention pond to your right. And so that pour is going to be done later this week. So all the concrete work below the upland area will be complete. And again, we just have a few other items to work in the upland section. It's not up there, though. You can't see it on that screen. Okay, yeah, okay. Anyway, moving along to the east pump station, that you see the coffer dam there by the intake, that's gone. That crane's gone also. Again, this is substantially complete. And what will happen here is now, the water's going to come out of that pump station and go west underneath I-95 in the background towards the stormwater treatment area. This is now going to pan off to the west from the east pump station. You'll get a view of what's in the west there. You can see temporarily that the speed limits on I-95 have been suspended, and in the background there you can see the stormwater treatment area. And I don't know, is this not showing up on your monitors?
It's on our monitor.
Okay, good. So that's the stormwater treatment area in the background. This is just an aerial view of the stormwater treatment area. You can see the discharge structure is right there, and then this baffle island increases the flow path of the water, so the treatment removal of phosphorus and nitrogen is more effective. The intake and pump station's right there. Then what will happen, as I've said before, this pipeline will carry the water over to US 192, and US 192 strikes off to the west to the discharge location. And this will give you a little bit of an idea, that pipeline coming from the east pump station is about 0.7 mile. It goes underneath I-95, and I thought this would be nice to show you. There's where the east pump station is located. Moving on to Black Creek, another project that's really getting there for the pump station and intake, and the 17-mile long transmission main. They're substantially complete. Couple little punch list items that are left to take care of. That photograph in the lower left center is vibration testing that was conducted on the pumps as part of the startup for the pumps. That the vibration testing went just flawlessly. It was all good. Basically now most of the work is going to be at the treatment system and getting the media in those cells. I'm happy to report that water is moving through cell number 1, which is full of media. You can see a picture of that on the lower right photograph as well as the lower left. So we've been rinsing that media, and the initial water quality test results are looking pretty good. The colors being removed according to the water quality criteria. That water quality criterion is being met, as well as turbidity, but we still have some more rinsing to do, so we're going to continue that process until it gets to the point to where we can move that water into Alligator Creek. But the good news is cell 1's ready to go, and it's so far looking pretty good.
So that water came from Black Creek?
Yes, sir. That water came from Black Creek. That's going through those cells right now.
So the spigot was turned on, it just hasn't made it into
Spigot's turned on, but it hasn't made it yet into Alligator Creek. That's correct. We still got to do some more rinsing, meet all the water quality criteria, but the initial test results are very promising. Okay, a little video here now. So this shows all the treatment cells. So there's cell one in the down below. That's in a dry area. So the water's already drained through it once in a rinse. There's cell two. It's got the liner in. It's ready to receive media. This is cell three. That's ready to receive media also when it's available. Cell four, you can see those under drain trenches have been cut. The liner contractor's out there today putting the liner in. There's the rinse basin. That water in that rinse basin right there is from cell one, and that just percolates into the groundwater system. Cell five, you can see the under drain trenches are also being cut, but this is a couple weeks old. All those under drains have been cut now, and that's ready for the liner also. And cell six is pretty much ready to go. They're going to begin under drain trench cutting there also. Now that liner contractor showed up this week, and so we just have to line those last three cells, and he won't leave until that's done. If everything goes according to schedule and the weather cooperates, the liner will be in cells 4, 5, and 6 by the beginning of April. So that's going along pretty well. This is just a picture of cell one after the water drained through it once. One of the rinses, you can see these little like domes on top of these pipes. So the water comes up through those things, and those things allow those little baffles or whatever you call them. They allow the water to be evenly distributed throughout cell one. So that's how they're spaced, and that's what those allow them to do. And you can see the plants have already been planted in there also. This is cell two. You can see some of the media is going in the background. In that corner, there's a extended long reach excavator that's putting the media in that cell. Cell two now, I'm happy to report, is about 25% full of media. So that's good news also. And finally here, this is a discharge structure just before the treated water will eventually come through here and go into Alligator Creek. And the riprap's being installed around that this week to prevent erosion, so that's going to be finished pretty soon also. And then this footage will just kind of zoom on up and shoot back towards the storage tank in cell one. It's just kind of a different view of all 6 cells that are being constructed. So that's all I have right now. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Great report.
Just a comment.
Yes.
Dale Can-Do Jenkins. I tell you what, do you walk around here with a bullwhip? How do you get this done so fast?
Staff is it. I mean, can't do it without the leadership from Mike and Mary Ellen and great staff. And the board support, I mean, it all works, right?
You're doing an amazing job, Dale. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You're here.
One project. Are we expecting completion prior to rainy season starting?
Crane Creek? Yeah. Yes, sir. The contractor's been telling us that the whole thing should be substantially complete by the end of April, early May. So yes.
On Crane Creek, you mean?
Yes.
Right. Okay, great. Any other questions?
Mr. House.
Oh, just good. Just thumbs up from all. All right, we're going to move to item, thank you, Dale. Move to item 11, public comment.
Yes, sir. We have one commenter today, Dr. Patrick Welsh, representing Solo.
Great.
It's back.
Hello.
Patrick Welsh, and I am with Solo, and I'm here to congratulate and thank everyone who's been involved in the Black Creek project. For those of you who don't know, this has been in process for over 20 years, and there's been few people, Doug, General, and others who have been here the whole time and working on this. I want to thank you all. If those of you who are in here have never seen the Black Creek project before, you have to be an engineer to understand how stunning this project is, how amazing it has been to be through this whole process from the very beginning of understanding what it is. The whole district, as I remember it, initially the scope of the thing was rivers and springs. And today, what we saw was a balanced version, including the underground resources of the upper Floridan aquifer. And that in itself is amazing. Thank you.
Yes, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly want to applaud Dr. Welch's comments. He has the academic credentials and the experience in this. And yes, it's been a long journey. But as Henry David Thoreau said, success is a journey, not a destination. And we've certainly come a long way, 3 steps forward, 2 back, so many times. So I certainly thank the staff and Dr. Welch and Vivian for the insight to look for alternatives, which we found, and it's working quite well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sir. All right. Items 12 through 22 were approved on the consent agenda, so we're going to go from 11 to 23. Item 23, which is checking in on the firm. Aaron Preston.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I have updates on 4 cases this morning. The first is one that's resolved. This was Barbara Ash versus the City of Deltona and the district. This was a third-party challenge to an environmental resource permit that authorized modification to a stormwater management system in Volusia County. The second amended petition was dismissed with prejudice on February 24th. There's one new case to report. This is the Florida Springs Council versus the Department of Environmental Protection with interveners, the St. Johns River and the Southwest Florida Water Management Districts. The Florida Springs Council filed an administrative petition challenging the department's proposed outstanding Florida Springs rules. Both the St. Johns and the Southwest Florida Water Management Districts intervened in support of the department because the outcome of the case will impact whether the districts will apply those proposed rules to consumptive uses of water that might impact outstanding Florida Springs or a spring run within the district. That hearing is scheduled in Tallahassee next week. It's March 18th through the 20th. The other 2 cases are updates on ongoing. The first is the Merriman case versus the district. This is pending in the district court for the Middle District of Florida. And as you recall, it's claims against the district that are based on concerns related to an environmental resource permit in Clay County. And the various petitions over the past couple of years that had ultimately been dismissed because they did not meet the uniform rules of procedures pleading requirements. The plaintiff's third amended complaint was filed on February 13th. The remaining district defendants include only the district as an entity, the executive director and myself in our individual and official capacities, but all of the other district staff and board members are no longer parties individually to this complaint. The district's response is due March 14th, and that's in progress now. The last case is an update. This is the district versus Michael Fortin, Carolina Fortin, and Amanda Alderman. This is a civil action pending in the circuit court in Brevard County, seeking to enjoin unauthorized activities and encroachments on district land. The court granted the district's request for a preliminary injunction after an evidentiary hearing yesterday. This injunction requires that the defendants remove any personal property that they had placed or materials from district property, and it keeps them from placing any other personal materials or conducting any other unauthorized activities on district lands while the case is pending. So up to this point, we've been working with counsel for the defendants trying to resolve it without a trial, and we plan to continue those conversations as the case moves forward. This concludes my report.
Any questions? All right, we're going to move to item 24, which is governing board comments. Open the floor. Anyone? All right, item 25, Mr. Register, you recognize for a report and a description of the upcoming calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the governing board. If you go ahead and go to the first slide. Recently, the Indian River Lagoon Symposium was held at Florida Atlantic University's Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute. This annual event brings together experts from various institutions and agencies to discuss Indian River Lagoon science and its application to the lagoon management. Several of our staff attended to engage in meaningful discussions and share their experience. They are there from left to right: Lorraine Simpson, Lori Morris, and Stacy Cecil, who presented on behalf of the district, and Lauren Hall, who also co-authored one of the research pieces. So a big thank you to all the staff that participated and really reaffirmed the district's commitment to the improvement of the lagoon, especially Lorraine, who served as the steering committee. I served on the steering committee and played an integral role in the planning of the symposium itself. Next slide. Here, you're interested, I know, in the burn program at the district. This is where the district conducted a 6,800 acre prescribed burn at the Three Forks Conservation Area in Brevard County. As you know, regular prescribed burns help enhance environmental quality and reduce the risk of destructive wildfires, though they may occasionally cause temporary nuisances like smoke. The video there on the left is showing how we utilize a helicopter to get to some of those hard to reach places on these large scale burns. Some of our larger burns are even visible on radar due to their scale, as is seen on the image to the right. The image also highlights the precise and well-maintained fire lines from this burn. So a big thank you to all of our land management staff and everyone who is involved in ensuring that these burns are carried out safely and effectively. You can go to the next slide. We had talked in one of our basin management updates previously about looking at the flooding out at Deep Creek. This video shows the installation of a new gauge out at Deep Creek to work with stakeholders to better understand regional flooding by collecting additional data. These efforts will help improve flood monitoring and management in this area. And then calendar. The upcoming meeting will be an early one, April 8th, here at district headquarters. Thank you.
All right, any questions for Mr. Register this time? All right. Any further public comment?
No, sir.
Requests? None. Okay. Seeing nothing else to come before the board today, no further items. This meeting is adjourned.